Greetings, my name is Jim Lindsay. I'm your instructor for CIS 141 online in the fall of 2018. I hope you are well. Thank you for watching this orientation video. What you're looking at is the homepage of Blackboard, and you'll use this site extensively throughout the semester. And what I'd like to do in this orientation session is basically introduce you to the Blackboard site as well as talk about the syllabus and introduce you to the class calendar. These are typically things we would do during the first day of a face-to-face class. And so with that information and armed with that, you basically can proceed and start to tackle the material in this class. And so let's get started. I'm going to begin by going through the syllabus, and I sent this to you by email. I hope that you've had an opportunity to read it, and I hope that you will have questions ready. If you have any questions about it at all, especially after watching this video, please contact me and let me answer those for you, because you need to have a very clear understanding of what is expected of you as well as what I expect of you. So I'm sorry, what to expect from the course and what I expect from you. So let's begin at the top of the first page. Essentially, what is the purpose of this course? This course is supposed to get you ready so that you are computer competent, certainly for your work at WKU. And hopefully, we're going to teach you some things that will help you even beyond that, but certainly while you're a student at WKU. Many of you are freshmen. In fact, the majority of students enrolled in this class are freshmen, and quite frankly, that concerns me. Freshmen taking an online class, that's usually kind of a recipe for some problems. And so I'm going to be watching especially you guys very closely. The ideal student for this is typically somebody in their junior or senior year that's already figured out their study pattern and how to succeed in college coursework. And so this is an online class. The purpose of this is to get you ready for your WKU computer work, especially within the College of Business. And it's not for everybody. This format works especially well for people that are very disciplined, that typically have jobs or families and can't make it to a face-to-face class. I personally enjoy and like face-to-face classes much better, but this is a way that we do things now, and so I hope that you're going to get a lot out of the class. Please stay in contact with me, because it's important that you stay on top of stuff in an online class, even more so than during a face-to-face class, because we don't have the nonverbal cues to pick up on as we communicate in an online class. And so that's the purpose of this course. And speaking of communication, it's sort of a nice segue to come down here to my contact information. I am located in Grice Hall. That's in the center of campus. It's very close to DSU. I'm on the second floor, and I'm in Grice Hall every day. I teach Monday through Friday in Grice Hall. You can see my office hours posted there. I'm there longer than that, but those are the for sure office hours. Please come by and see me if you're on campus, and a lot of you are. From what I can tell, a lot of you are on campus anyway. If you have questions, especially if it's about something like grades or anything important, come and see me. I can answer your questions really fast that way. If you can't come and see me, then call me, and my phone number is listed right there. And then, as a last resort, you can email me. But the more communication we can have as far as actual interaction, the better. And so there's my contact information. And let's move on down to the required materials. You'll see that there is a book. This is the 16th edition of the Understanding Computers Today and Tomorrow, and it's from Morley and Parker. It's a good book. We've been using it for quite a while in its previous edition and in this one. The ISBNs are listed there, and then the link to Amazon to rent it is right there. Let me go ahead and open that up. And what you'll see from that when you visit this web page, if you've not rented a textbook before, it opens up basically at the purchase option, and not just purchase. It basically opens up to purchase a brand new one, which don't do that. If you're going to buy it, at least buy a used one, because that's going to save you some money right there. What I would do if I were in your shoes is I would rent it, and you can see that the rental price as of the recording here is about $19.57 for the semester. That's great. You can see that the list price when you buy it new is like $189. That's just crazy, insane prices. Let's not spend that kind of money. 1957 sounds much better. So that is the means by which you can rent this. You can also get it from the WKU bookstore. It is more expensive from the WKU bookstore, but that's an option for you. You may be an athlete, for example, and your scholarship basically provides it to you through the bookstore, or you may be in some sort of an arrangement with the university where your books come directly from, they have to come through the WKU bookstore or something. That's fine. This book is available from that location. Again, it looks like this, and if you'd like to rent it from Amazon, that's the current price. This will rise. I bet this will rise as the weeks go by. Basically, as inventory starts to dwindle, then the price starts to go up. There becomes more demand, but that's how we can get that textbook. Okay, so in addition to the textbook, what do you need? Well, if you're going to work in a WKU or in any computer lab, you may be working at work, or you may be working at a public library or something like that. You'll want headphones because you're going to be listening to lectures like this one, and people around you don't want to hear my voice. So by having headphones, you'll have the ability to basically just make it so that only you hear it. Also, you're going to need some version of Microsoft Office, and that could be one of these listed here. As a WKU student, you have access to Microsoft Office 365, and in the lesson specifically over SAM projects, I talk about that in some detail, but get Office 365 because you pay for it with all these crazy fees that you pay. One of those technology fees goes to Office 365, and with that, what you can do is you can install the most current version of Office on up to 5 different computers, and that can be an Office for the Mac, or it can be Office for a Windows PC. And so what I try to, like, my two daughters, my daughters are a senior and a sophomore this year at WKU, and I've told them, it's like, hey, put this on your laptop, we've got it on our machine here, and then that way if they come home to visit, obviously I'm in town, but let's say I lived in Louisville or something, if they came home to visit, they'd forgotten their laptop, or they forgot their power supply for their laptop or something, they would still have that software that they need for their coursework. And again, you can install it on up to 5 different computers, and so why wouldn't you? So, and I don't think your parents will be upset if you're installing the most current version of the software on the machine, because they'll get to use it too. So if you have questions about that, let me know, but you'll need some version of Microsoft Office to complete the SAM projects, and you'll get detailed information about the the SAM projects in the lesson specifically over them. So that's one of the things that you need. So a book, headphones if you're going to be working in the lab, and Microsoft Office. Let me get this to where it snaps together like that. You need a broadband internet connection, because obviously you're going to be listening to lessons like this one, and dial-up simply is not fast enough. So those are the things you need. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, let's talk about the class meetings. We never meet face-to-face. This is an online course, and so we never get together face-to-face for class purposes, but you can come see me, as I mentioned already. You know where my office is. Please do. And also, I've mentioned already, my thoughts about who this course is really, this type of course is best for people that are older that have to basically, go to work during the day and can't come to a face-to-face class. So if this sort of format doesn't work well for you, then by all means, withdraw from it and then just take this class in the fall or in the spring, or it's usually taught in the winter or in the summer, but that's typically done in an online fashion. But take this in a format that's going to work well for you, and because if you're close to campus, stay in contact with me and come see me. And because you're so many of you are so close, even if you're having trouble with this format, we can probably bridge that gap a little bit, as long as you stay in contact. So that's information about the class meetings. Let's look at what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reading, obviously. You have the textbook as well as additional articles, which I will ask you to read. And there will be online lessons like this one and tutorials to inform you about software and websites and things that I want you to learn about. And those are all basically described here. Also, we're going to make a website when we get to the part of the semester where we're talking about computer networks and the World Wide Web and all of that, and the internet and all that sort of stuff. And so you'll be creating a website. I'm also going to ask you to, in each module, and what I've taken the semester and broken it into 5 chunks, and then taken the stuff that I want to cover and and put those into those 5 different containers. And so, and I call each of those a module. So for each module, there will be a regular exam, which is a multiple choice test, and a reflection paper. And that's basically your writing assignment. It's an easy writing assignment, but I will ask you questions. I will provide you a start file, and essentially that start file will have the questions listed, and then you just basically open the start file and provide your answers. This will hopefully tax you a little bit. This will require you to sharpen your writing skills and your communication skills. This is a newer thing I'm doing with my online classes, and I think that too much of it has gone to the multiple choice, and I want to try and get a little bit more interaction with between us. And so that's a component that you're going to see with each module, as well as a regular exam. Those regular exams are timed, and they're offered during a 48-hour window, and you'll see that in the class schedule. I'll show that to you in a little bit. And so look at the class schedule and determine, hey, for these 2 days, I need to make sure I'm near a computer with an internet connection for half an hour so I can complete my exams. And that's how that will work. The reflection papers will be available for a week, and so some of you will get your course, your material covered earlier in that module, and as a result of that, you'll have the ability to write those reflection papers and submit those sooner. But the exams are going to be offered just during those 48-hour periods, and again, there are 5 of those. Lastly, there is a comprehensive final exam, and you must take the comprehensive final exam. It's all multiple choice, by the way, at a testing center approved location. Now, you don't have to come to Bowling Green. Let me say that again. You do not have to come to Bowling Green. I had a student this last summer that traveled halfway across the country back to Bowling Green to take the test, and that is not necessary. I had another student take this from basically another continent. So you do not have to come to Bowling Green to take this test. You may be taking a class from Indiana or from Tennessee, or you may be deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that. You can take the test from there. You just have to set up your test. You have to basically make an appointment with an approved proctor, and that's done through the testing center. I'll show you on the website, the Blackboard website, where the instructions will be posted for that. So please know you do not have to come to Bowling Green, but you have to take that final exam at a proctored location. Somebody has to watch you take the test. And what that does for us, that just makes sure that somebody is not taking a class for you. You'll see the comprehensive final exam basically is worth a lot of points. And so if somebody has been fudging and having somebody else do their work, when they show up to actually take the final exam, they're not going to do well and they're not going to pass. And so that's kind of like the last little check that we have in place to make sure that the actual people that should be taking the course are actually doing the work. So those are the activities that I'll ask you to complete during the semester. And let's look at the point values. There's a syllabus quiz that you can complete the first week of the course. It's worth 10 points, and you can have this syllabus open while you're completing it. Please do. There are SAM projects, which you will get a briefing on. In detail, you'll learn about those projects. So I'll let you watch that one to learn about that. The website project will complete that when Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 are covered. The regular exams, we've talked about those, and there's reflection papers. So essentially each module's test is about 75 points, because when you take the 65 from the regular exam and a reflection paper, that's 75 points per module. The comprehensive final exam is worth 290 points, and add all that up and get 1,000 possible points. Now, the last day that you can drop this course with no grade whatsoever and get a full refund is September the 4th. If you're watching this and this sounds like something you don't want to do, please by all means get out before September the 4th, 2018, and that way you can get your money back. If you start taking the course and for whatever reason you decide that you would like to withdraw from it, you will be allowed to withdraw all the way through October the 19th, but after the 4th you won't get a refund of any type. And so that's the last day to drop with a W. The grading scale, this is a points-based class, and so you can see there are 1,000 possible points. 900 to 1,000 is an A, and so on as you look at these point values. As you look at these two paragraphs right here, essentially what these say, I automatically drop your lowest regular exam score and replace it with the next lowest one. So if you do poorly on one of your regular exams, that's basically exams 1 through 5, if you do poorly on exams, one of those exams, don't freak out about it, because at the end of the semester I will automatically take that lowest score and replace it with the next lowest score. Why do we do that? Well, I credit Dr. Thad Cruz, with coming up with this policy a long time ago, and it works great, and that's why I've continued to use it ever since he introduced me to it a long time ago. When you have this many tests and when you have as many students as we have, it's inevitable that somebody's going to miss at some point. So instead of having to bother with makeup tests, you use this policy, and somebody that gets a flat tire on the way to school, or gets sick the day of the test, or experiences some sort of real tragedy, this gives them an outlet where that one event can just be skipped, and so that's the purpose of this. And also it works as a great motivator to do well from the beginning of the semester, because again, there are 5 regular tests. If you do well on exams 1, 2, 3, and 4, guess what you could do when it comes to exam 5? Well, you could just skip it, because if you already have scores on exams 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are good, then you don't need to take exam 5. And that's typically when the semester gets sort of stressful and starts to crunch on you, is at the end, right? So do well on exams 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then what you can do is you'll have the option to basically forget about that last test. If you have any questions about that, give me a call. That's basically the way that I will calculate your grades. Okay, I'm going to let you read about the grading principles. Essentially that means that you can't do something once the due date passes for it. You need to be checking your email on a regular basis. I will send emails through Blackboard, and the way that Western's systems are set up, whatever, in TopNet, it considers your WKU email to be your primary email address. If you want some other email address, like say Gmail or Hotmail or whatever, some other email address to be more important or have priority over to the topper.wku.edu, you need to log into TopNet and tell it that, because when I send stuff through Blackboard, its default normal behavior is going to be to just pass that through the topper.wku.edu address. So here are some instructions on how you can modify that behavior. But if I send an email through Blackboard, I'm going to expect that you got it. So please be checking your email on a regular basis. And we will use Blackboard basically for everything. That's our learning management system that will deliver your lectures as well as announcements, as well as I'll use that to send email. That's pretty much the conduit for everything. So please be very familiar with and comfortable with Blackboard. If you have any questions about that, call me or come see me and let me give you some coaching. But Blackboard is very important to us, especially in this format of course. Okay, this next one's a really cool one. This Military Student Services service. This is basically a newer service that is available to WKU veterans and their family members. So if your mom or dad is a veteran and or you are a veteran, then please check them out. They're located in Tate Page Hall on room 410, and one of the really neat services that they provide is basically they can help you with books. And so if you're looking for, say, like a CIS 141 textbook, there may be one there that they can help you with. And so and there's other stuff that they do. So that office again is in Tate Page Hall, room 410. That is a benefit that you've earned through your service. Please take advantage of that. I put a link there to the website for that office, and please take advantage of that. All right, next is a not so pleasant topic, and that's basically cheating. And please read through this very carefully. Essentially what this says is if you cheat on something, if you turn in somebody else's work, if you have somebody else to take a test for you and I figure that out, if you get caught cheating on anything, then you will fail the course. And I know that's very severe. I know that's super strict, but I feel very strongly about this. This is something that this is an easy class in my opinion. And so as long as you're trying, as long as you're doing some work, you should be fine. You may not get an A, but as long as you're working some, you should be okay. But if somebody cheats, if somebody doesn't do their own work, if they fail to carry their own water, forget about it. You're out. And so I've been enforcing this policy for a couple of years, and it's the most common thing that somebody will be tempted to cheat on is a SAM project. And please know that there's no event in this other than the final exam. There's no event in this class that is so valuable point-wise that you just couldn't skip it and still do okay. You could skip a couple of tests and still pass. You could skip an entire round of SAM stuff and still pass. You could skip a couple of rounds of SAM and still pass. So please don't give into that temptation to cheat. And it's also a not just for this semester, as you'll see, this policy applies to the future and the present. So we actually had to do that this last year, where we had somebody from a pretty recent semester that gave their projects to a friend that was taking the class, and we had to reach back and retroactively fail them. So it's we're very serious about it. Please don't cheat. If you have questions about it, please contact me. But it's just not worth it. So please don't turn in somebody else's work. All right, let's move on. Student Disability Services. If you have a SARC accommodation form, please get that to me immediately. Take a picture of it with your phone and email that to me, or scan it and get it to me. But I need to see that like ASAP, because especially if it gets to testing in an online format, that can be real time consuming for me to get that set up. And so if you have some sort of SARC accommodation form, I need to get that as soon as possible. One, we'll talk about it, but two, if I'm going to be able to accommodate you, then that takes time. So if you contact me like the day before the test and say, hey, here's my accommodation form, I may say, too bad, so sad, because you're with everybody else. So you have to get that to me in advance so that we can actually work those things out. Next, we have the Title IX and assault policy. These are things that you should be seeing in all of your syllabi here at WKU. This is something that's really positive that the university has recently started to provide. If you experience some sort of harassment or an assault, please tell somebody about it. You can tell your teachers, you can tell staff, the staff that work at WKU, and there are a number of offices on campuses that can help with that. Please know that I am what's called a responsible employee, and you can see about that right down here in this part of it. If you come and talk to me about that, or you contact me and let me know about this sort of an event, I am legally required to go ahead and report this and send this on up my chain of command, because we want to help you. If you want to report this in such a way that it is confidential, you can do that through the Counseling and Testing Center, and that's talked about right down here. And so the way that you can do this with confidentiality is through the Counseling and Testing Center. Otherwise, everybody else is considered what's called a responsible employee. And so as somebody who's experienced something that they shouldn't experience in the first place, I want you to know what your options are and not feel betrayed by somebody that you went and confided in. So those are your options. If you have questions, there are plenty of numbers in here for people that you can call and ask in addition to myself. So that's something that I wanted to make sure you are aware of. And all your other faculty members at WKU are also included in that. So please use us as a resource. Last couple of resources I wanted to share with you. This one called Starving to Learn. This is an initiative that was started by students last spring, and I think this is a really cool thing that SGA has basically, I think, spearheaded. I don't know if they thought of it or if somebody came to them with the idea, but in the spring, like April or May, they came to basically the faculty senate. They said, hey, we've been doing some research about hunger on campus, and what we've learned is that there are students on campus that are having to basically choose between tuition and their grocery bill, and they're paying, people are paying their tuition bills and they're going hungry. And I don't know if you've ever experienced hunger, but if you've ever been like really hungry, all you think about is food, man. And so in that case, trying to concentrate on your accounting lesson or your CIS lesson or whatever, it's impossible because you're so hungry. And so there is an office, and you just click on that website right there, the starvingtolearn.com, and there's a food pantry on campus, and its hours are posted at the website, and that changes from semester to summer to semester. But come to campus and get some food. It's anonymous. It's a way that you can, if you're struggling with paying your bills and getting groceries, go there and get some food, and then you'll at least have that sustenance so that you can keep working on your schoolwork. And so that's a really cool thing. Again, led by students, thought of by students. That's very, I think, really very cool. So I wanted to share that with you. The last resource I wanted to share with you, there's a mental health support group that is new on campus. Dr. Jay Gabbard is running this. I went to a conference with him over the summer, and very cool guy, very nice guy. And so that group is going to meet at those times. If you have, as you read through that, if there's any information you want, that you want more information about, I can put you in contact with him, and he can fill you in with details. And so those are resources that are available to you. This last portion of the syllabus is all about objectives. Essentially, this may interest those of you that are education majors. These are things that as a college we are charged with, making sure that you guys are technically competent, as well as improving your critical thinking. And so these are our goals, our objectives, and these are the strategies we're going to use to try and get you guys to get better at those things. And so that's the syllabus. So thank you for your attention on that. Next, what I'd like to do is jump over to the calendar, show you what to expect as far as what the modules are, what's included in each module, what the assignments are for each module. So let me show you that, and then we'll lastly go to the Blackboard site. Okay, this is the class calendar. It's a tentative class calendar, so it is subject to change. It's an online class, and so that's very unlikely. In a face-to-face class where you sometimes encounter a snowstorm or something where you have to cancel class or something for inclement weather, that's when the tentative stuff really starts to come into play. But with an online class, it typically stays pretty solid. And by the way, all these documents are available on the Blackboard site, so you can print these out, and please check them. Again, this is tentative, and I will adjust it as necessary, but let me show you what the calendar looks like. There are 5 modules, and I've named these modules. We have Carly, Freddie, Sam, Spencer, and Gibby. Perhaps you watched iCarly when you were younger. It's a funny show, and so I named the modules after 5 of the characters from the iCarly show. And why is that helpful? It's just, the reason I think that's helpful is that that Exam 1 covers all this stuff in the Carly module. Exam 2 covers the stuff in the Freddie module, and so in doing that, you kind of helps you stay organized, I think. And so as you look at this calendar, you'll see the module name and the dates of that module in the leftmost column. As you work your way to the right, you'll see the lessons that are included in it, as far as which chapters, which pages of the book do you need to be reading and digesting in order to learn the material. You'll see any quizzes or exams that are associated with that particular module. You'll see any reflection papers, as well as the dates of availability, and then lastly any SAM projects or additional projects like website projects that are part of that module. So as you see, as you go through here, the first 3 weeks basically are the Carly module. We cover chapter 1 and then a portion of chapter 9 and a portion of chapter 13. And the syllabus quiz is going to be available from the beginning of Tuesday through Friday. And it's a 10-question quiz over the stuff that we just talked about for the first 20 minutes of this lesson. It's easy. You can have the syllabus open while you do it. I hope you will. You can take it as many times as you want. I'll count your highest score. But that's the first graded event, basically the syllabus quiz. And that's just to verify that you have in fact read the syllabus, paid attention to the syllabus, and know what to expect. The next graded event is going to be, that will be available to you, is the reflection paper 1. And that will be available from September the 7th through the 14th. Note that these times are all central time zone in the United States. If you are in another time zone within the continental United States, or if you're abroad, please adjust accordingly. What that means is basically the Blackboard server is on WKU's campus in the central time zone, and so when I set these things up, let's say you're in Eastern time, then when it's 1 o'clock in the morning to you, then it's going to be 11, midnight for us, and so just adjust based on where you live relative to the central time zone. So as you go through here, you'll see that these different modules and their content are listed as far as what you have to do and when you have to do those, and that's pretty much it. So if you have questions about the calendar, please contact me. Try to color code it and make it where it's pretty clear. The final exam week is from December the 10th through December the 14th. That's Monday through Friday. And again, you'll make your appointment at an approved testing site, and you go there and you take your final exam. And as long as it's during the Monday through Friday of the final exams week, I don't care when you do it. You have some latitude there. So if you have questions, let me know. Lastly, what we'll do is we'll look at the Blackboard site, and I'll show you how to navigate it. Okay, I am at the Blackboard site. When you open Blackboard and you click on the link for this course, it's going to open up at the announcement page. And so this is just the most current announcement. There's the cast of iCarly. I'm sure you guys will recognize those characters if you watch the show. The first module is named after this person right here. This Carly right here. Man, it was a funny show. Their big brother Spencer, he was, I think, the funniest guy in the whole show. Gibby was pretty funny too. But this is where the site will open, is on the announcement page, and I will put reminders here as you have things coming due, as you have tests, etc. I'll try and remind you about things from this page. The instructor info page basically gives you my contact information, and the syllabus and class calendar page gives you the ability to get both of those documents that we spent time looking at earlier. You just click on the PDF links right there, and you can open up those documents. The lessons page is where you're probably going to spend the majority of your time with this site. When you click on Carly, for example, you'll see that there's a listing of different folders, and in each folder there are items that you'll use. So for example, let me go to chapter 1. In chapter 1, for example, there's a link to a YouTube lecture, and in addition to that, there are the PowerPoint slides that I used for that lecture, and there is a Word document that's part of an activity that you can include as part of that lesson, and there are links to 2 different articles that are referenced within that lesson. So that's and I'm going to go back to the Carly folder here. That's how you work with this material. You go to the lessons page, click on the folder for whichever module we're working in, and then work your way through those lessons. I would recommend you start at the top and work your way down, but you could do those any way that you wanted to. Let's say you're really into computer security and you want to just start right there. Great, go for it. You click on that one, you'll see, for example, that there's a lecture link as well as slides. In most cases, I provide you with the slides, and so you can take notes on the slides if you wish. And in that case, there are links to multiple news stories that pertain to that particular topic. These lectures are not brand new. I recorded these lectures in the past, but they're still relevant. They're still consistent with what you're seeing in the textbook. So, please contact me if you have questions about stuff that you've seen in the news since this stuff has been recorded that you want to talk about. I'd love to talk to you about those. But please know that these many of these lessons are things that I recorded previously with different previous versions of this online class. The stuff that's going to be the newest, if you look at the chapter 13 stuff, like the health and access, a lot of this is going to be from this last summer. And so, especially like the copyright stuff and the patent stuff and the trademark stuff. And so I basically had a chance to spend some time listening to some copyright and trademark attorneys giving presentations about that stuff, and got a bunch of really great information that I could share with you. And so the chapter 13 stuff is probably the newest of what you're going to be hearing from me. But please contact me if you have any questions. And that's the lessons page. The SAM projects page, as you can see right here from the very top of it, we'll begin working with SAM starting on September the 5th. I want to get through the add and drop period before I create your accounts for that. So once we get to September the 5th, you can start on this, and essentially there's a lesson over SAM, and in that lesson over the SAM website, the SAM projects, I'll walk you through all this. But before then, but basically between now and September the 5th, don't worry about SAM. You're going to have plenty of time to get it done. But so before then, just work on the other stuff. And let's look at the syllabus quiz, reflection papers, and exams page. On this page, this is where you'll access things like the syllabus quiz and exam 1 and your reflection papers 1 through 5. So for example, with the syllabus quiz, if you wanted to take that, you just click on the link, and then it's going to say, hey, do you want to take this? You click on begin, and then you start the assessment. If it's something like exams 1 through 5, there will actually be a password with it that I will post, and that's to keep you from entering it on accident. And it's not to try and hide it from you. It's to basically make it so you don't go into it on accident and start the test, because you get basically one shot at exams 1 through 5. And so make sure you're ready to go as you take those. Now, one of the tools available to you to prepare for the regular exams are practice tests. And so if you look at the practice exams, and these are optional, but you'll see that the first one is already available for Carly. If you click on that, it's going to provide you, and you click on begin, it's going to give you 20 different questions over the material from chapters 1, and then these sections of chapters 9 and 13 that we're covering within the Carly chapter, Carly module. And so these are really effective. People that are going to do well on exams 1 through 5 will complete these practice exams many times. The more times you take it, the more times you're going to see possible questions, and you're going to get used to the format, and you'll be able to basically practice what you'll experience when you get to the real test. And so please take advantage of those. You can take those. They don't, whether your score is 20 out of 20 or 0 out of 20, it doesn't matter. It's just giving you exposure to the material and to the format in which you will see them when you actually take the test. So that's the syllabus quiz, reflection papers, and exams page. Lastly, this register for the final exam. I have submitted our request for taking the final exam. You will very shortly receive an email from the testing center talking about how to register for it, and when I will also receive that. Once I get it, I will put it into a PDF format and attach it to this right here. So that PDF version of the instructions is not posted there yet, but it will be in the next couple of days. They're very quick to get back to us on that. And last two things listed, you have the tools. These are things where if you guys want to check your grades, it's the most commonly used portion of that, or if you want to send emails to classmates or myself, you can do that. There's the send email down there, and then a number of other different tools available. And then lastly, the IT help desk. that opens up another page, and let's say you're having some issues with your passwords or your WKU accounts, you can go to this link right here and enlist the help of the IT help desk people. So that is a Blackboard site. We've talked about the syllabus, we've talked about the calendar, we've talked about the Blackboard site. Hopefully this was informative. I thank you for your time and attention. Again, please come and see me, or please call me if you have questions. I would love to be of assistance to you, and I look forward to working with you this semester. Thanks a lot.